Hey fellow writers, in this video, I'm going to talk about goals that you might set when you're writing your first book. I'm Rich Blazevich from Self-Publishing Fastlane, and if you want to see more videos like this, remember to hit the subscribe button. Specifically, what I'm going to cover in this video is why are goals important when you're writing a book, what are some realistic goals, and then what obstacles might get in your way as you're writing your book, and how can you use your goals to overcome those obstacles. Here's some statistics that show why it's so important to set goals when you're writing a book. According to the Jenkins Research Group, 81% of people say they should write a book. So think about that. 4 out of every 5 people think they should write a book. But according to a Statista research study, less than 1% of people actually follow through and write a book. The difference between the people who want to write a book and the people to write a book can be summarized in commitment. It really takes commitment to a goal to get that book out of you. So I want you to set a really clear goal, and that will help you when you're feeling discouraged, when you're feeling a lack of motivation. It will help you commit to getting your book done. Here's some examples of realistic goals when you're writing your first book. And let me start with some personal goals. You could decide you want to write a book to share knowledge. A lot of authors start here because they have ideas in their head, they have information in their head, and they want to get it out and share it with other people. One very common approach with authors is to write a memoir, and that way they can share their memories with friends, with family members, with people who might be interested in learning more about their life. Another good example of a realistic goal is to inspire someone. I've had students in my writing courses that have decided they're going to write a book to inspire others, and it could be inspiring strangers, it could be inspiring family members. One woman wrote a book just so she could inspire her daughter to do whatever her daughter set her mind to. And the student felt like, if I can show my daughter that I can write and publish a book, then she'll understand she can do whatever she wants. Another example of a realistic goal is to use writing a book as a creative outlet. You might have ideas in your head that you simply want to get out. The same way somebody who likes to paint likes to get that creativity out onto a canvas. You might have words in your head and you might want to get them out into a document, and writing a book can be a really nice creative outlet. And then finally, the last personal goal I want to touch on is meeting people. And you might think meeting people doesn't really make sense as a goal because when you write alone. I have met more people since I started writing books than I ever did before because it's a great way to open up a conversation. You can also join a writing group, which is a wonderful way to meet people. I have made really close friendships with fellow members of writers groups because you have something in common, and that gives you something that you can bond over. Here's some examples of realistic goals that relate to the business side of writing books. First of all, you could decide to write a book so you could build your skills or your knowledge in a specific area. One way to make sure you really understand an idea is to write a book about it. I actually did this with my second book. I wanted to get more knowledge on how to coach people to answer interview questions because in my job, I was recruiting students and I wanted to explain to them how they could frame up their interview answers so we could see if they're a good fit for our company. So I wrote a book on how to answer interview questions. And I did a ton of research. I took all of that information, I summarized it in a book. And by the time I finished writing the book, I was much more knowledgeable in that topic. Another business reason is you could use a book to build your credentials. So if you want to get into a certain line of business, this is very common with people who want to get into consulting or teaching or coaching or providing a service for other people, you could write a book on that topic and then use your book to demonstrate that you are a credible, knowledgeable person in that specific topic. And then finally, you could write a book to make money. If you've watched my previous videos, you know my perspective is it's not likely you're going to make money off of your first book. So I'm going to show you ways you could make money from writing books. The first way is write a series of books. And then I'm also going to cover use books to establish credentials, and you can use the credentials to make money. And then finally, I'm going to talk about how you can write books and blogs and make money off of both. First of all, if you want to make money from writing a series of books, there's a wonderful book that talks about how to do that. It's called Write, Publish, Repeat. And the premise of the book is you can write many books, and it's a good idea to give away the first book so readers can see that they like your writing style, and then they'll be more likely to buy additional books in the series. So if you're thinking you might want to write more than one book, I highly recommend check out Write, Publish, Repeat, and it will show you the model for creating a series of books that you can make money from. The next way to make money that I want to cover is to use a book to establish credentials and then use those credentials to make money by providing a service. The best book I found that explains how to do this is called Expert Secrets. And the premise of this book is you are an expert in something. You have secrets that you can share with other people. So if you can communicate those secrets in a book, they'll be more willing to hire you, and you can provide consulting, teaching, coaching services to them that they'll be willing to pay you for. And for the last way to make money on books that I wanted to mention, well, I call it books and blogs. And this means you write books so that you have content for blog articles. And a lot of people are making money off of blog articles. And when you take your content, you put it up on a website and people find that website, you're going to generate a traffic pattern. If you get enough traffic to your site, then you can get advertisers to advertise on your blog. So writing a book gives you content you can put on the blog. Having a blog gives you a place that you can provide advertisements to people who are willing to pay for it. Now I'd like you to think about what is the main reason that you want to write a book. Is it a personal reason? Do you want to share knowledge? Do you want to inspire someone? Do you want a creative outlet? Do you want to meet people? Or is it a business reason? Do you want to build your skills? Do you want to build your credibility? Or do you want to make money related to your books? Or do you have some other reason? So think about what your goal is for writing your book. And it's okay to have 2 or 3 goals, but you want to know what's the main reason you're writing a book so that when you need motivation as you're writing, you can go back to that goal. Here are some obstacles that I've heard from my students when they say they can't finish their book. So if you think about these obstacles ahead of time, you might plan out ways to overcome them. The most common obstacle is students say they're too busy to write their book. And my approach to handling too busy is think about how you spend your time. Before I was writing a book, I would spend time watching TV, I'd spend time on social media, I'd play games on my phone. And while I'm writing a book, what I do is I say, okay, that time that I used to spend doing things that weren't productive, I'm going to stop doing those and I'll use that time to write my book. So I'd free up an hour a day when I wouldn't watch TV. I'd free up an hour a day when I didn't do social media. I'd free up an hour where I wasn't playing games. And if you can free up 3 hours a day from those unproductive tasks and you applied that to writing a book, you would have plenty of time to write your book. Another obstacle is self-doubt. So if you feel like you just don't have the ability to write a book, writing a book is a practice skill. It's something you can develop the ability to do. So if you want to start writing, the more you write, the better you'll get and the less self-doubt you'll have. So just convince yourself, hey, I can do this. It might not be great when I start, but the more I do it, the better I'll get. And the better I get, the less I'll doubt myself. You may feel like you have too many distractions. Then the way to approach this obstacle is to let people know, I have defined times that I'm going to be writing. So please don't distract me. When I'm writing, actually turn my phone off so people can't reach me. I disconnect from the internet and I go someplace where people won't be tempted to distract me. Another obstacle is perfectionism. There are people who start writing books and then they get frustrated because every word isn't perfect and they're not getting everything exactly the way they want it, and they'll stop. The way to overcome this is to realize that writing a book is a process. The first draft that you write is not going to be perfect. It is just going to be the raw material for an editor to work with, whether you edit it or somebody else does. The first draft doesn't have to be right because it will get improved as the editing process happens. I also know people that said when they originally wanted to write a book, they wanted to write their memoirs, but they didn't want to relive those painful experiences. And that can be tough because if you feel like the book you want to write is your life story, writing about it can really bring up some emotions, and that could be a very good thing. I've talked to people who've completed their memoirs, and they said it was one of the best things they could do to heal the emotions that they had to deal with. So if you feel like you want to work through some things that happened in your past, writing a book can be a way to do that. If those things are private, you don't have to publish the book, or you could choose not to use the names of real people in the book. You can make it a fiction story based on your life. Another obstacle that some people run into is they feel like they don't have the credentials for writing a book. The truth is, you don't need credentials to write a book. Anybody can write a book. All you have to do is decide that you want to do the writing. You don't need a specific education. You don't need a specific career. You don't need specific work experience. Anyone can write a book. So if you feel like you're being held back because you don't have the credentials yet, don't let that hold you back. Just go ahead and write. And then finally, some people don't get started on writing because they feel like they don't have enough money to write and publish a book. The good news is you don't need money to write and publish a book. Publishing now is free. A lot of the platforms that let you self-publish will take your book for free. You might choose to spend some money on editing or a book cover or formatting, or you could choose to do that yourself. Something that can help you get over these obstacles is to define success in a way that you can achieve it. Here are some examples of what could be your definition of success. You could say that you want to have a first draft of your book completed by a certain date, or you could say you want the book published by a certain date, or you want to deliver copies of the book to specific people. If you define success as something like this, which is very attainable, that can help you get over obstacles and work through issues as you're writing your book. Here are 3 secrets that I've discovered in the book writing process. The first one is having clear goals helps you overcome obstacles. If you know what your goals are, when you run into the obstacles, you can say, but really, I want to accomplish this goal, so I'm not going to let the obstacle prevent me from hitting that goal. Another secret is time commitment is not overwhelming to write a book. If you choose to write a fairly short book and it's about a topic that you're familiar with, you can write a book in a matter of months. And then finally, success doesn't have to be measured in sales. If your goal is to meet people or to have a creative outlet or to have one of those personal goals, you don't have to sell copies of your books. You just use the writing process and the book publishing process as a way to set an objective for yourself. And again, money doesn't have to be the objective. Your objective could be as simple as becoming a published author. Here are the action steps I'd like you to take from this video. First of all, clarify your goal. Make sure you know why you're writing your book so you can go back to that goal and use it for motivation as you need it. Identify some potential obstacles so that you can prevent them. And then finally, define what success is. And for many of us, success is simply becoming a published author. If you want more information about the writing and self-publishing process, I invite you to go to my website. And as I'm recording this video, there's a copy of a checklist on the website, and you can go there and figure out this exact steps you need to take to plan your book, to write it, to refine it, edit it, get book covers, things like that, and then finally to publish it on self-publishing platforms. It's available for free right now, so check it out. I'll put a link in the description. And then finally, remember to subscribe, and that way you'll see more videos like this. Hopefully this video helps. I wish you the best of luck as you write your book. And I hope that by identifying the goals you have for writing your book, that'll help you stay motivated. It'll help you get through those obstacles, and it'll help you accomplish what you want to accomplish.